6 months ago, we started the search to find the single best mountain biker in the world. Then, this happened. But don't call it a comeback. Dual Slalom never left the building. 2 racers, 2 courses, lots of hand sanitizer. Here in Tyrol, it's anyone's game, with everyone from downhill specialists to pump track pinners in the gate side by side. The Dual Slalom Innsbruck is coming at you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good day, race fans. I say good day, but it could be good morning, could be good evening. In our case, we're hanging out on the west coast of the United States on California time. It's midnight, but look at that screen right there. It's a beautiful sunny morning in the Austrian Alps for Crankworx Innsbruck. Can you believe it? We're back in action. We're actually getting a Crankworx stop. We're gonna see some racing today. We could not possibly be more delighted. I'm not going to sleep right now. I don't care, it's midnight. We got dual slalom action coming your way. I'm your host, Cam McCall, alongside professional downhill racer, our analyst extraordinaire today, Elliot Jackson. And Elliot, it's all about gated racing head to head right here. And it feels good to get underway again, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I really can't wait to see what these athletes are doing in Innsbruck. You know, I think Innsbruck for me is like one of the most beautiful places. When you're up there, you see the mountains. It's a great view. Really, really nostalgic. So I think all of us are ready to see what's going on.
Absolutely. This is a venue that we're very familiar with. Those of you who are watching from home, who have watched in the last couple of years, you know the venue, Innsbruck. A little bit different this year. We don't have spectators on hand, but we still have those courses that you know and love, the dual slalom, the speed and style, the slope style, and the downhill. Today we kick things off with a field of talent, very, very, very deep. Of course, amidst a global pandemic, we're not able to get all of our athletes over there that you're used to seeing on the Crankworx World Tour. We have travel bans in place, but we are abiding by all the regulations locally in Austria and locally here in California. I can't even reach it if I try. My arms aren't long enough, and we're doing whatever we can to get racing underway. We've got a field of 16 for the men and 8 for the women today.
Yeah, it's so true. I think it's really cool to see the diversity that we have in the field. We have enduro specialists, we have downhill specialists, we have, you know, some XC people that have had made the transition, and so this is one of those things where even though it's a special event, we've made the best of it, and it's really, really awesome to see it.
And as you can see right now, we've got a perfect day for racing out there in Innsbruck, Austria. There was a lot of rain the last couple of days. I was looking at the weather report going, oh man, I hope this doesn't get rained out. We're in the Alps in October, so anything could happen, but look at that shot right there. Not a cloud in the sky. You can tell that way up high, the top of those mountains, we've seen a little bit of precipitation, some snowfall capping those peaks. Luckily, it hasn't made its way onto our courses. It's just adding to the beautiful spectacle we have as a backdrop here in Innsbruck, Austria. A lot of front runners that you normally see, not our Canadian and American racers, but guys like Adrian Larone, Thomas Slavik, guys who have been king of Crankworx in the past. So as you'll see, right now in the start gate, it looks like Adrian Larone. You'll see plenty of familiar faces, but also a great opportunity for some of those up-and-coming European racers to really make a name for themselves here against some of these top dogs like Adrian Larone.
Yeah, I think Adrian Laronne is one of those people that we know and love. We know what he's capable of. There we see Matt Sterling. He'll be going and racing World Championships after this. He won this event last year, so he's definitely comfortable on this type of terrain.
Yeah, great to see dual slalom racing making a comeback. It was just a couple years ago that Crankworx reintroduced dual slalom at all the stops. And, you know, it's been a big tradition in the States to have dual slalom racing with races like the Sea Otter Classic dual slalom. So last year, Matt Sterling, the youngster out of California, grabbing the win with fellow Americans Mitch Ropolato and Luca Cometti on the podium with him. So it'll be really interesting to see if he can take his 4th place qualification event from earlier on yesterday and back it up 2 years in a row. But he's going to have to get past Adrian Larone, which will be pretty tough.
Totally. Yeah, I'm really excited to see what this course looks like as well. So I think we have a little course preview that should give us a little bit of a hint.
Since we're not there, we might as well watch this course preview and see what the dual slalom Innsbruck track looks like. Let's take a look.
Hello guys, it's Thomas Slavik here. We're now at Crankworx Innsbruck and this is the GoPro course preview of dual slalom. Let's go. Yeah. Boop. Let's go. What?
I was like this, drifting like 1 foot.
What?
So, really similar course to last year, and you can already tell just by that course preview, it's going to be all about those final slalom gates in the flat corners.
It's so true. Like you're trying to gain speed the whole time. The berms are perfectly smooth. You have some rollers that you're getting some speed off of, and then you have to kind of shut it down a bit. There hasn't really been that many ruts that have cut in. And you had mentioned the rain. I think in kind of practice, we saw some people really making some mistakes. So, it'll be about pushing and then trying to dial it back just a little bit so you're not, all over the place like Chaos was talking about.
You can see, even with just those first looks of the course, even though it's a blue sky sunny day today, it looks like there's heavy saturation of water in those flat corners. That's really going to mix it up. So tire choice is going to be a big part of the story today.
Yeah, totally. I think that wet grass is like the mountain biker's natural enemy.
So here's what our brackets look like at this point. We've narrowed it down from 32 qualifiers into our round of 16. Of course, the way dual slalom works, it's elimination format. So we cut the field in half, and every step of the way, each rider gets a run on the right and a run on the left. Simply put, in the second run, if you're behind, you got to beat the rider who beat you by more than they beat you by. And that's how you make it in to the round of 8, then the round of 4, and then somebody's going to walk away with a gold medal here at Dual Slalom Innsbruck, which is kicking off right now.
Bringing people that are passionate about a sport that we all love, bringing a community together to hang out, and that's a Crankworx thing.
Some guys are just impossible to beat nowadays.
It's technical, it's fast, it's what I like.
Maybe I'm going sometimes too much over the limit,
This is like a feeling that I've never really felt in bike racing before.
Oh no! It's adrenaline, it's a rush, and that's it.
Goal would definitely be a win.
We've got 16 racers in the men's field, 8 racers in the women's field. Let's do the ribbon cutting ceremony of Crankworx Innsbruck, shall we? It's been a long time since Rotorua, so it is very exciting to see some riders in the gate. Your heat number 1 for the men is going to be Luke Meyer-Smith going up against Chaos Seagrave. Now, Luke Meyer-Smith, your number 1 qualifier here today, with Chaos Seagrave qualifying in the 17th spot. So, good job, Chaos Seagrave, making it into this bracket, but this is going to be a tough battle for him. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and Luke actually, qualified first. It's a name that most people probably haven't heard of, but he is flying on this track. He got a couple of Junior World Cup podiums last year, Chaos on the hardtail, and here are those flat turns we were talking about. really having to, you know, finesse their way through it. Luke coming out on top.
Luke Meyer-Smith through the gate first, 0.68 ahead of Chaos Seagrave. Now we're going to have to take a look and try to figure out the personality of these two courses. We were looking at qualification results, and it's very evident that one side is quite a bit faster than the other. So as we see these heats roll through, we'll find out if that's the black course or the red course. Luke Meyer-Smith with the advantage on the rider's right course, which has those black flags. We'll see if we can identify any trends developing here as we take a look up at the top of the course again for heat number 2. Eric Emmerich going up against Nils Heiniger.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups that we were kind of talking about in the show open, where you have Eric, who has gotten some 4-cross podiums, some 4-cross racer, and you have Nils, who is an under-23 Enduro racer. So this track is kind of suited for them, where you have kind of a 4-crossy section up top, and then down at the bottom, you have a section that really requires that bike skill and that finesse.
Our 8th and 9th qualifiers here going up against each other, so expect a very tight race. Even this first run is pretty tight here with just 0.15 separating Heiniger from Eric Emmerich. Heiniger with the advantage.
Yeah, you can definitely see how the riders, you know, are so aggressive up at the top, like pumping the rollers, and then it's just like tiptoeing around those bottom corners. That'll, you know, the sun is out, so I think one of the things that will change throughout the day is really trying to be confident enough to push there, to know that it is going to dry up and you are going to be able to take some more speed in those bottom corners.
We'll expect that matchup to be a tight one when they make their way back up to the top of the course, but right now it's all about a former king of Crankworx, Thomas Slavic, going up against the Enduro specialist, Adrian Daly.
Yeah, man, Adrian has been on fire, like just on fire in everything. He's been racing downhill races, and then we have, you know, Thomas Slavik, who is a mainstay in the Crankworx series. I'm excited to see what Adrian can do in this year. He's just so skilled.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Slavik with that classic gate. The most powerful guy.
Thomas Slavik, the number 5 qualifier for today's race. Adrian Daly qualified in the 12th spot. Tight racing.
Oh!
Look at that. It looked like Daly may have crossed the line first. He did by 0.28 ahead of Thomas Slavik. So Slavik with some work to do here. Kind of the exact opposite of what I was expecting to see.
Yeah, you definitely saw, like, it's interesting, you know, we were talking about kind of the 4-cross skills and that aggression up top. Slavic really hit that kind of camel hump, you know, rhythm section really fast, got really good backside, but we did see him slide out a bit in that last turn. But it's kind of what you have to do. You still have to go for it. Even though it's slick, you still have to go for it.
Those flat turns are definitely going to be what's going to separate these riders and allow them to make it through the field here. But look at this, right side of your screen. The champion from last year blew everybody's mind going, wow, look at this youngster. And if you really look at his stats, he's got a lot of results on the Crankworx World Tour, still a young rider. And that was kind of the moment where we started to take Matt Sterling serious. Let's take a look back. So here he is going up against Mitch Ropalato, and anytime you're going up against Mitch Ropalato, you got to leave it all out on the table. You can already see the difference in how much drier the dirt was last year, earlier on in the summer. And that dry dirt bit Mitch Ropalato, so he had a big deficit to overcome. And in true Mitch Ropalato style, did not hold any punches, giving Matt Sterling a huge win in his young career, looking to back that up in the 2020 version of Crankworx Innsbruck right now.
That is so true. I've gotten to know Matt a little bit more since he's been on the Giant Factory Off-Road team, and it does well under pressure. I actually raced him a couple times in slalom last year, and he just doesn't falter. Like, even though this is his last year in junior, he'll be going to compete in the championships.
How about you don't jinx him, Elliot?
Okay,
How about that?
Okay. Commentators curse. I'm new. I told you now.
Hey.
All good. I told you.
I trust you, Elliot. You do not lie. Look at that. Smooth under pressure is Matt Sterling crossing that finish line 0.43 ahead of Gilles Franck. And Matt Sterling looking to pick up right where he left off over a year ago. Let's take a look back at these brackets here. Gonna help you follow along with our day of racing. If you get the advantage, you're sitting pretty as you get yourself up to the top of the course, and you've got a nice green W next to your name. So Meyer Smith with that advantage over Chaos Seagrave. Heiniger, that advantage over Emmerich. Slavik surprisingly has that 0.28 to make up, and Matt Sterling with a 0.43 ahead of Gilles Franck. So look at that, another Slavic coming up in our next heat. You would think, oh, this must be some sort of relation. Then you look at which countries they're from, you realize, okay, well, we got more of just a coincidence than anything else. So Hannes Slavic going up against Charles Murray.
Yes, and it is so ironic as well, because Hannes is also a machine and also amazing at four cross. You have Charlie Murray, who he came to New Zealand and took all of these wins in the Trans New Zealand Enduro race. So, like I said, just really diverse talent here. This bottom section, Charlie really kind of making sure he doesn't make mistakes on his as well, like sees his advantage and wants to again make sure that he doesn't throw it away.
Charlie Murray with a smooth run, but wow, definitely not setting himself up comfortably for the next heat. He's got about a 0.59 to make up behind Hannes Slavic.
Man, it is so nice to be watching racing.
So look who we have in our gate right now. Adrian Larone, a very, very well-known face and name on the Crankworx World Tour. He was the 2017 King of Crankworx. He participates in so many different events. We caught up with him earlier to find out how he prepares.
It's exactly the same all the time. DH, I think Enduro, DH, all kind of mountain biking is the same, but the only difference with pump track is everything happened right now, it's like so precise. It's the same, like, for me it's exactly the same way to race a DH track, but really intense, like everything in 10 seconds.
So Adrian Larone in the gate right now for dual slalom. You will see him later on for pump track. Don't be surprised if you see him for speed and style as well. And of course, this is a little bit different story than what we are usually talking about during a Crankworx World Tour stop. We're usually talking about the points tally and the race for King and Queen of Crankworx, which is something that Adrian Larone is always focusing on. But today it's all about each individual race results.
Yeah, Laronne is one of those people that we know and love, and Joe Breeden. He's, it's his first year on this UR team. He had a really good event in Rotorua. I know, like you were saying, Laronne, this is one of those things where
wow, Breeden
slipped a little bit of
through those flat corners.
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure on this slalom race. There is no overall, there is no slalom overall. It's all about this one race, so everyone is going to be pushing it.
I think what we're seeing already right now is something that we were we were hinting at the beginning of the show is that those flat corners are really going to be the make or break. And that really comes down to what your background is as a rider as well. Adrian Larone definitely no stranger to these flat corners based on the last few years of slalom races on the Crankworx World Tour, and the speed and style courses typically have flat corners as well. But Breeden was looking really strong compared to Larone.
He is. He's a technician. He is.
So speaking about the differences in riding the top of the course, which is full of berms, and the bottom of the course, that's something we'll make sure to look back on every time we get a replay. But right now it's all about George Brannigan on the right side of your screen going up against Niels Bensink. If you're on Instagram, check out Niels Bensink's compound. There's some aerial views. The place is absolutely insane. You know he's been training hard for this moment.
Yeah, totally. He's a pump track specialist, BMX specialist. Actually won a national pump track qualifier. So he's got that power.
Yeah, really tight differential there between Bensink and Brannigan. Brannigan squeezing through with a narrow margin, 0.07 of a second in the lead. All right, so now we're going to get a chance to look back on these runs. This is one of the tightest runs we've seen so far since we started racing today. Take the magic of slow-mo to analyze what's going on.
You see George pedaling all the way through that outside corner. And Niels with the kind of the BMX skills there, pedaling all the way over, back wheel on the ground. So steezy. George, oh, like, look at that. Might have missed a gate there.
I know.
Did both of them miss a gate?
You know what they're saying? They're saying right now, you know, we can skip these slow-mo replays.
They're like, oh, no, all good, all good.
Yeah, no, we'll get back up to the top. Just drop the next heat. No slow-mo replay for us. It's all good. So obviously, if you're new to watching dual slalom racing, you got to make it on the proper side of those gates, or there is a penalty to be faced with. So Fabian Cusini on the left side of your screen going up against Bernard Kerr. Yep. Fabian Cusini has been doing some slalom racing this summer. We had him on the Cliff Crankworx Summer Series, which was a series of events that took place over 3 weeks in British Columbia, Canada. So he's well practiced up coming into this heat right now, going up against Bernard Kerr, who obviously a huge name, a former king of Crankworx himself. So let's see what Fabian can do, if he can put this early season training to work here against Bernard Kerr.
I know, I feel like I've seen Fabian all over the place, just really a global citizen. And Bernard, he's been kind of branching out this year as well. Rode a couple of EWSs. I know he's been training hard as well. Kind of had a really healthy year this year. So you guys are no slouches.
Oh, big guy! Go boy!
Good vibes here. Bernard flipping his front wheel on that top part, but he's gonna be getting really good pedals there. Bernard just like, you can really kind of see, I feel like that was kind of a textbook way to go through flat corners where you want to set up, kind of lock in, get a pedal out there, get a little bit of brakes, and that was really, really kind of textbook.
Bernard Kerr, number 2 qualifier for today's race. Eyes up, that's a great point. The way Andrew Needling always describes it is you don't want to be late in the corners. You want to have those eyes up, be setting up early. And when you watch somebody go through those flat corners like Bernard Kerr just did, they make it look easy. And you know it's not, because you've seen so many riders struggling with it. It's all about that foresight, looking ahead, making a plan.
Totally, right? Like you see him kind of wait a bit and then get on the pedals, and then like right here, lock in, foots down.
And you know what? When you get back up to the top of the course, every 100th of a second counts right there, and it's things like that, things about...
Oh, baby. I feel like everyone is just stoked to be back out at Crankworx.
Yeah, it feels good to be racing. It feels good to be halfway through our round of 16 for the men's category in the dual slalom Innsbruck. You see those names with those green W's next to them? Those are the riders who have the advantage going into that second run where they will switch sides. And after that run, we will cut our field in half, work our way into that round of 8 where we will meet up with the women's category. This is the dual slalom Innsbruck. More racing coming up. Don't go away. Slalom today, we find ourselves right in the middle of the round of 16 in the men's category. We're gonna work our way back up to the top of the course, pick up the same way we started this race by lining up Chaos Seagrave against Luke Meyer Smith. Meyer Smith with the advantage of 0.68 over Seagrave right now. Meyer Smith, the #1 qualifier. So Chaos Seagrave, a little bit of work to do as we continue the racing action in our dual slalom Innsbruck. If you're just joining us, nothing to worry about out here. Blue skies, nice hero dirt in these berms, a little bit loose in those flat corners. Basically all the ingredients you need for some entertaining racing.
Yeah, it's so true. Like we were talking about, it's just one of those days where you just love being out on the bike. The sky is blue, the dirt is good. You're out there riding with your friends. A little bit of pressure because it's a race, but see a little bit of a game face. Slight smile, but he's stoked. He's stoked.
I feel like I can smell what it smells like there. It's weird being this far away from the action, but we've been there so many times. I could smell it. Chaos Seagrave, a rider who always has such a blast on his bike. You can tell that's his objective. He's saying that right here with this quote. He's always competing in so many different events, and he gets to ride with so many different talented riders. One rider who definitely just focuses on enjoying the experience, but a guy who definitely has the skills to knock out heavy hitters like Luke Meyer Smith, who's your #1 qualifier today. So never count Chaos Seagrave out.
Yeah, and he's riding one of the few riders that is riding that hardtail, so definitely has an advantage up here at the top. All those pumps are going to be doing a little bit more. Down to the bottom, the suspension's going to do a little bit more traction. See Luke there just like with a perfect pump, little tap manual. Chaos!
Come on, Chaos! Oh! You know what? That's what you do when you're 0.68 back, and you realize if you miss a gate, it's going to result in the same exact scenario as if you just don't beat your competitor by more than 0.68. So might as well go for it.
Yeah, we're under review, but I think
we know what happened.
I don't want to call it too soon, but no, that's one of the things that happens with slalom because you're riding head to head. You kind of know, right? Like you know that you're behind and you got to do something wild. You might as well go for it.
So expect to see Chaos Seagrave back before the end of the week of festivities out here. Most likely back in pump track. Perhaps we'll be lucky enough to see him line up for speed and style. But it's all about the Luke Meyer Smith show right now, your #1 qualifier, moving on to the round of 8.
Yeah. I'm so impressed with Luke, like that, almost like clipping his bar on the pole. Look at that. Oh, I'm just loving to see the back tire slide.
It's always a case of realizing there's so much more going on that you don't recognize when you watch the run in full speed, seeing how much drifting there is going on there. It's one of my favorite things to watch with mountain biking is when the tires are loose, but the rider is not sweating.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, how do they go around those flat turns so fast? And yeah, it's actually being comfortable with your tires sliding, not having that traction and trusting that they're going to hook up at some point.
Loose is fast if you're fast enough to get loose and
right.
Keep rolling.
Sure.
All right, next heat loaded up into the gate here. Eric Emmerich going up against Nils Heiniger.
Yeah, totally. So again, we kind of you know, touched on Eric having that four-cross background.
Yep.
And
okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the game.
He's going to be trying to make up that time.
Nils Heiniger with a .15 advantage. Emmerich looking to make something happen.
I think it's always interesting too when you start off and you're on the outside. You see that you are behind, but you're not really. Oh! You know he needed to make it up. That turn is kind of the most off camera. We've been kind of seeing people, you know, be late on that gate. It's one of the ones where you really need to slow down just a little bit so you can really power around that. We saw Berner do that really well, where he slowed up and then he was able to actually pedal through that gate and through the finish line.
Well, we reminisced about last year, Mitro Pilato sliding out in this corner because it was so dusty. Now we see the 2020 version too wet and slippery. We're seeing a lot of riders go down in these flat corners.
Yeah. You can tell that he was just, it's one of those ones where you have a little bit too much speed and even though the wheel was turned, the bike was not going anywhere.
Oh yeah, front tire, hit a banana peel.
You definitely, yeah, I think when you see that, it's really about kind of the, you know, you'd say, well, why did that happen? And it was really kind of started back a little bit before that turn where he braked a little bit too late and just had a little bit too much exit speed coming through there. Wanted to actually kind of move that whole thing back a bit.
That's how it works, isn't it? It's kind of a chain reaction. If there's a mistake that's obvious, you can identify that. There's a good chance that that mistake might have happened earlier up. So next in the gate here, Thomas Slavic. We're talking about keeping those eyes up, knowing when to push, when to let off. This is a race, so why do you need brakes? Thomas Slavic, perfect rider to walk us through the art of braking into corners. We'll be taking a look at that a little bit later, but right now it's time to drop this gate. And Thomas Slavic, a veteran rider, a rider who doesn't have that youthful exuberance where, you know, you just let the body take over, just try to go so fast like some of the younger riders. He's a rider who's been doing it so long. Those are the things that come with experience, is knowing when to let up a little bit, because you said a lot of times if you see a mistake that's obvious, it could have been caused by something that happened earlier on the course. So look for a very smooth run out of Slavic.
Yeah,
right here.
And he's going to have to push because he is back on Adrian, and Adrian is, again, one of those people that just doesn't make mistakes. Let's see how he executes here. It's all about these flat turns. Adrian!
0.28.
Wow.
Thomas Slavic's not going to make up that .28. Adrian Daly, the EWS specialist, knocking out a former king of Crankworx, putting himself comfortably into that round of 8.
Adrian with a nice mustache there. Yeah, that, I think it, you know, that, I guess it's the white course is really, that turn where we saw it crash, it's really slippery. Slavik.
Man, watch out for Adrian Daly today. Wow. Knocking out Thomas Slavic.
That's amazing that he was able to save that. Yeah. Like, he was like so leaned over and actually kind of pedaled to bring the bike back up.
It's like grabbing the throttle.
Yeah, totally.
If you were to look at a still frame of that one moment where he's so far fishtailing on the other side of the gate, you would not think it's possible for him to pull it back around.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll look to see more Thomas Slavic perhaps in the pump track later on, but his day is done when it comes to dual slalom as Adrian Daly makes it into the round of 8. Let's take a look at our next heat. Matt Sterling, the 2019 champion Crankworx Innsbruck dual slalom team. He obviously knows how to set up his bike. Walk us through his tire choice for today, Elliot.
Yeah, you know, he's running a little bit higher pressure here. These berms are super, super fast, so he doesn't want his tires to roll. Running 2 of the rears, it's a pretty common choice among the downhill crowd. You know, you're kind of optimizing more for those flat turns than you are anything else, so you wouldn't run that typical kind of semi-slick tire here.
I like how daring it is to run a higher pressure when you know there's flat corners that are wet at the bottom of the course.
Totally.
I guess if you're the defending champion, you have some confidence to lean on. You also have 0.43 to lean on ahead of Gilles Frank if your name is Matt Sterling. And see if you can keep the momentum rolling.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be confident. He's definitely going to be focused. It's all about him kind of not throwing it away here. He's on that lane that is a little bit drier. We will see how he executes these flat turns. Foot off. Just smooth. With the manual.
Matt Sterling he's playing with the field here. Incredibly comfortable on every portion of that course, not sweating the higher pressure on those flat corners. Aware of the advantage he has, manual through the finish line. Look out for this kid.
And it looks like, are those spikes? That's an interesting tire choice. I could totally see it with the
helmet off.
That's such I'm like thinking about that. Such a trade-off, right? Do I want to go a little bit faster in the top, or do I want to feel a little bit more stable and confident at the bottom?
You've got like completely opposites from the top to the bottom.
Totally.
Like it's like 2 different courses here. How do you set a bike up for that? So Matt Sterling through to the round of 8. He'll match up with Adrian Daly. That should be interesting. 2 guys we're talking about being so on point today, but only one will be able to survive. But now we take a look at this next heat. It looks like this is going to be Hannes Slavik and Charlie Murray.
Wow, you can tell, you know, one of the ways we always think about like BMX or four-cross riders is their brake position. So you saw Hannes, like his brake position so far down. For a downhill rider, you'd never have that because most of the time you're kind of off the back, and the further down you have your brakes, the more arm pump you're gonna get. But the BMXers and stuff like that really aren't touching the brakes that much. So it's all about that start.
Such a good point. I mean, that's something that's so small on our screen you can barely see it, but you can tell the difference between the brake angles on both of these 2 riders.
Totally.
So Hannes Slavik going up against Charlie Murray.
Yeah, Charlie riding that Enduro bike. Do the double up there.
Hannes Slavik basically just needs to cruise through the finish line here. Charlie Murray. More issues in the second run of this heat for Charlie Murray, who already had
running it through
max differential.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. You saw Hannes really making up some time. Charlie was really gaining a lot of ground, pedaling, but it's just this right there. He saw his front wheel go out. He tried to correct. Back wheel went out a little bit, and then kind of lost it. Just gonna happen so fast. He really
go down swinging.
He went down with the ship for sure.
I like it. So Matt Sterling, we've got a headset on him. Matt, it was a great performance last year. We really went, who is this kid? He just took the gold all the way over in Austria, this California kid. And, you know, you surprised us then, but you're surprising us now just simply being there. Obviously, you're killing it on your bike, but how were you able to get all the way over there and race today?
So basically, I just had to prove that I tested negative for Corona, and then I had to have a few papers from UCI because I'm going to World Champs after Crankworx is done, and then a paper from Crankworx, and that's about it. So glad to be here.
Yeah, and Matt, you know, we're looking at those bottom turns. What is that like? Is it really slippery? Is it drying up?
It's drying out pretty good, but yeah, it's real slick. When you come into them, you have to be really hesitant, but at the same time, you want to win the race. So it's a huge mind game, confidence game. So yeah, I just gotta keep upright.
Do your thing, Matt. You've done it before. I know you're capable of doing it again. So good luck out there today, and good luck at World Champs.
Thank you.
So Matt Sterling showing no signs of slowing down, carrying that momentum that he showed us a year ago, well, more than a year ago, because obviously this would have normally taken place earlier on this summer. But great to see him just, you know, sometimes being a professional athlete, you got to do some paperwork. He did the paperwork. Sometimes that's harder than riding the first.
That was the most nervous he's been all year.
So up back to the top of the course, Adrian Larone with 0.15 to make up behind Joe Breeden, and a huge start for Larone.
Wow. Yeah, this is one of those ones where we know, you know, it's all about these turns. Joe has his downhill skills on the trail bike. Oh!
Whoa! Hey, I think we're finally going to see somebody doing it here. Adrian Larone coming from behind, staying alive, making it into the round of 8. We're not seeing that very much.
It's so true. And you know, one of the things that's interesting here, where, like, so watch this on Joe's side, kind of that same thing as Slavic. Oh my God.
How?
That is crazy. So one of the things that's interesting here is that turn that Joe just kind of went wild in, it might be getting worse, right? You know, even though it's drying up, some of the grasses have those little kind of roots and stuff like that that come out. I'm wondering if that's kind of playing something there.
I'd say that's the good thing about dual slalom, right? Because you'd say if you were new to this race format as a spectator, you say, well, that's not fair. He gets to ride the smooth course. He gets to ride. You know what? Even if there was a section that wasn't even rideable, each of them would have to do it at some point. And it would be who could do it faster without mistakes on either side.
It's so true.
So great to see Adrian Larone come from behind, make it into that round of 8. George Brannigan right now with the max differential to make up 1.5 behind Niels Bensink.
And so if I was Niels, I would have been really paying attention to what the riders have been doing there. He knows that turn is really slippery. So with this sort of advantage, it's all about making sure that he doesn't make a big mistake, because it's his to lose.
It's almost like in each bracket, you want to be going on the rider's left side first.
right, totally. Yeah, he can't cruise though. That's like, you know, as soon as you try to like let up. Okay, let's see. Okay. Yeah, he played it perfect. He knows. He's not new to this.
Especially with a 1.5 to lean on. Niels Bensink plays his card smart and moves into the round of 8, sending George Brannigan back to the spectator circle. At least you don't have to really fight for a great spot to watch from today. There's no spectators. True. You have your choice over where you want to sit and watch from.
Yeah. Oh, wow. George, front tire on that. I love seeing them go over that. It's like a sideways wheelie pedal, etc.
That camel back, like quadruple section in the middle, I feel like there's a lot of really interesting ways to ride over that. You're seeing some really unique approaches to that, especially from those riders with the BMX background. That's their bread and butter right there. So here's where things are sitting right now as we are slowly chipping away at our field, deciding who's going to make the cut into the round of 8. So with 3 of 4 runs in the books here, this is what it looks like, Elliot.
Yeah, man, I am so excited to see some of these. Adrian versus Matthew, Thomas versus Larone, we're just seeing all the time.
So that's going to be really interesting right there. Adrian Daly going up against Matt Sterling. That's the one that really jumps out at me. Those are two riders who are looking like they could win today, but only one will survive and make it in to the semifinals. Also, don't forget, we got the women's category coming up, their round of 8. Round of 8 time, live from beautiful Innsbruck, Austria. Dual Slalom Innsbruck. First day of competition out here, and we're just happy to be having a Crankworx event, albeit in October. Kind of crazy to see the snowy peaks out there. We're usually out here way earlier in the summer, but we will take it. We'll stay up late to watch this, man. It's about 1 a.m. and we are loving every minute of it. We've got our next heat loaded up in the gate. Bernard Kerr against Fabian Cusini. Bernard looking really, really solid today.
Yeah, we saw a lot of people struggling in those flat turns, and Bernard just textbook through there. So we'll see how Fabian, he's, again, that experience and knowing what a course is going to do when it breaks down, what it looks like when it starts to dry up.
He's done 3 slalom races this summer. Versus Bernard's probably, well, that was kind of like last spring. That's not even this summer. That's a while ago.
Yeah, that feels like 10 years ago.
.33 is what separates Bernard Kerr from Fabian Cusini. Cusini with the work to do. Let's see what happens.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can cheer the boys on. Cusini's not too far behind. A little bit sloppy through there. All right, there it is. Coming really good, but Bernard just...
Bernard's ridiculous in those flats
right now. He is, man. He's riding so well.
So Bernard...
and hit my helmet on the jump.
What a squid.
That's the worst when you get beaten and the guy who beat you tells you about all the mistakes you made.
We were talking about that in the summer series where it's like there's some mind games going on as well, you know? I mean, even though he's not going to be racing anyone, it's always a competitor.
That's one unique thing about not having a full crowd of spectators. It's nice to be able to hear what they're saying to each other.
Right. Man, that's super cool to see.
There we go. Bernard Kerr will be heading up against Niels Bensink. We've got our round of 8 field completely filled now.
And I am interested to see Bensink kind of push. He's so smooth. He looks so smooth against George. And he's going to have to really bump it up to beat Bernard.
Yeah, Bernard, the #2 qualifier. That will push Bensink out of his comfort zone for sure. And when you're a veteran, you know where your comfort zone is. And we were talking about this earlier. Even though this is racing, it's all about precision, and sometimes that comes down to knowing how to effectively brake at the right times. For more on that, let's check in with Thomas Slavik.
Hello guys, it's Thomas Slavik here. We're now in Crankworx Innsbruck for the next round of Crankworx dual slalom time. The track is actually the same as last year's. It's pretty short, pretty intense track. First part of the track is a lot of corners, big berms, but actually you cannot make big difference there. Really crucial part and really important part is down there at the bottom, where is the flat corners, and that's actually where you're gonna win or where you're gonna lose. If you make a mistake there, you're done. A lot of people don't realize, but they braking in the turns, it's not the right thing. You need to brake before the turn, and through the turn you need to go without the brake. That's the key, and that's the way how to go as fast as possible through the turns and how to keep your line. My point of view on a dual slalom track here in Innsbruck. I hope you guys gonna have fun and enjoy the race.
round of 8 time means that we will join up with the women's field. This is our first look at the women's bracket, Elliot.
Yeah, we have Morgan Schar, who was the #1 qualifier. She's been on fire, won the last EWS race, and against Garrick there, we have a lot of names who we haven't really seen in the women's field. Totally different names than we had in the summer series there in Crankworx this summer.
So there we have it. Morgan Schar going up against Anita Garrig, representing one half of the Garrig sisters. You'll see her sister out here racing a little bit later, Carolyn. But here we go. It's great to bring the women into the field here. The smaller pool of riders, so that we did not see a round of 16 from them. But Morgan Schar, so accomplished in so many different disciplines, going up against Anita Garrig.
Yeah, the Garrick sisters they can do everything. So. Morgan's going high in the berm at the exit there. This is the first time that they've ridden since practice this morning, so the track's going to be a little bit different. See how they execute these flat turns. Morgan just boom, boom, boom.
So there you see Morgan Schar through the line, 0.84 ahead of Anita Garrig. Morgan Schar is the #1 qualifier out here, so she is looking strong. So Elliot, it's fun to listen to the banter at the bottom of the course there. So Elliot, I've got a special surprise for you.
Okay.
Do you remember our friend Andrew Needling?
Don't.
I mean, every single Crankworx World Tour stop, he's hanging out with me in the booth. I'm gonna see if we can leverage the magic of the internet to have Andrew Needling join us right now. Let's see what we can do. Oh yes, there he is. Can you hear me, Andrew Needling?
Your wish is my command again, Cam. Anything for you.
Magic. You are a magician. Hey man, what time is it in South Africa?
If anybody's wondering oh, well, it's a normal time. I'm the same as Europe, my man, so it's not like the middle of the night like you. How you guys doing over there? I've been tuning in. I've been watching on Red Bull TV on Crankworx, so you sound lively, but you must be a bit tired.
It's 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m., but we love dual slalom so much that it's just, I don't know, what is it? Is it adrenaline? Is that what they call it?
It feels like it's, what time are people most awake?
We're good, we're good, we're good. We're usually jet lagged when we're over there, so it's no difference. Andrew, you've been following along with the racing, have you not?
I have. It's so exciting to watch racing again. It's been the most interesting odd year, I think, for everyone. So I've been speaking to some of the racers via Instagram, WhatsApp. They are so excited to be back, but they said it's very different not having spectators there, but it feels kind of like just riding on the weekend with a bunch of buddies.
Well, now that we know we have you, we're going to keep you around, and I say we get back to racing. Let's do it.
Yeah, that was Tyler. The chemical coming in from Santa Monica.
I heard Andy Brew, said my name out there. It's like we're actually there. He's live on site. I heard him. He's listening to us. He's eavesdropping on our banter here in the middle of dual slalom racing action. We've linked up with the women's category. We've seen one bracket go through. Morgan Schar with the advantage over Anita Garrick. Now we got Becky Cook going up against Angie Hohenwarter. And this is how Angie's setting up her front fork.
Yeah, you always see a little bit lower high-speed compression there. You'll see that for all the riders. So it's good to see Angie on that. Definitely suspension's one of those personal preference things.
So Angie going up against Becky Cook. Let's take a look at some qualifying results here. Angie, number 4 qualifier. Becky Cook, number 5. So expect a very even matchup. Hohenwarter on the right side of your screen, Cook on the left.
And Angie's one of those one of those people that has been around, you know, and has so much experience, raced a bunch of World Cups, you know, back in 2005, 2006, and it's just been a kind of a person in Austria that has been a mainstay.
With a bit of an early lead here.
That was cool to see Becky, you know, rolling up there and then jumping off. We didn't see any of the men doing that.
Oh, no way. Becky comes down as Angie Hohenwarter accelerates across that finish line. She will score that max differential there, the 1.5 over Becky Cook.
And this is definitely, you know, even though she has the 1.5, we've been seeing so many mistakes down in there at the bottom.
Inside.
I saw that. Right here, you can just see the front wheel. It was one of those ones where you're like, okay, it's going out. She almost caught it, and then she was like, no, it's gone.
When it gets to that point, there's no pulling it back. I
Totally.
mean, especially when you're clipped in, you're not going to put that foot down and try to stilt yourself back up. So Mathilde Bernard on the left side of your screen up against Ella Connolly. Mathilde burst onto our Crankworx scene a few years ago during the boom track in France on a home turf back then, and she hasn't slowed down since.
Totally.
She's got that BMX background, and she's been expanding those skills in the dual slalom.
Yeah, really skilled. You know, Junior World Cup podium last year. Ella actually, you know, XC background, top 20 in a U23 XC race. So, again, it's cool to see these different backgrounds coming into play.
So Mathilde Bernard, your third place qualifier, 0.82 ahead of Ella Connolly, your sixth place qualifier. And we have our next heat loaded up into the gate. Laura Churches going up against Martha Gill.
Yeah, I feel like Luana's kind of one of those girls who does everything. She skis, she races four-cross, races enduro, really just loves being outside, loves being on the bike. And Martha, again, like, you know, there's a lot of British women who are so skilled. I don't know if that's kind of from, you know, Rachel Atherton, Tom Seagrave. Oh. Dang, saw Martha there, like, taking a foot off.
Look at that.
Really saving that slide that a lot of the men couldn't catch. Getting back on, clipping back in. Super cool.
So that's impressive there. Luana Churches, the seventh place qualifier, now with the advantage over Martha Gill, the number 2 qualifier. That's what we love about dual slalom right here, especially on a quirky track like this. You can see some of those Cinderella stories. And sometimes you see riders who didn't qualify that high making it all the way through to these rounds. And so it's fun to watch as those transpire. Here's a look at our brackets for the men. And I referenced this one earlier. The Daly Sterling matchup is going to be something.
Yeah, this is awesome. This is gonna be something to watch.
First heat for the men's round of 8. Loaded up in the gate right now. Luke Meyer Smith going up against Heiniger.
So this is our number 1 qualifier on the left of your screen.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Nils got some fans. It's close. Both of them coming over that thing super fast. Oh! Pushing. Just a little mistake from Nils there. And Luke just, both a little bit wild, but Luke really getting the edge. So evenly matched up until that point.
Luke Meyer Smith doing his thing, carrying that heavy torch that the number 1 qualifier always has to carry. But so far, this is exactly what you'd expect your #1 qualifier to do. Make it through the round of 16. Put over a half-second gap on your competitor in the round of 8.
Man, it's amazing how precise they are.
That was round number. Well, he #1 in the round number 2. Oh, got it.
Luke thinking about the run, just going over it.
That's funny. Whenever we catch up with the riders and we ask them what their strategy is, they go, you know, actually, my favorite quote was Mitch Ropalato. Well, what goes through your mind? He said, if you're thinking you're losing, on to the next. I love that.
It's so true. It's so true. It is, though, like, it sounds so simple, but if you're thinking, if you have any sort of kind of past thoughts where you said, yeah, I think I hit that turn pretty good, or I think I hit that, then you're already at the next turn and you're probably blowing it.
If you're thinking, it's like be in the moment, but not even. It's like be ahead of the moment. If you get stuck right where you are, you're already too late. It's all coming at you so quick. Adrian Daly on the left side of your screen going up against Matt Sterling, your defending champion here at Crankworx Innsbruck Dual Slalom. Clean slate here in the round of 8. Who will have the advantage when they cross that finish line?
Okay, riders, random start.
Matt qualified 4th.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
He won this race last year. Both young. It's going to be a lot of pride as well. Oh, Matt getting that so good. Okay, here we go. Oh, they both had it really good.
Tight.
That was insane.
Wow, come on. 100th of a second. Matt Sterling just squeaking through the line ahead of Adrian Daly. But that is, I mean, that's pretty much a tie.
Yeah,
as close to dead heat as you're ever going to get. 100th of a second. But look at the composure, Matt Sterling, in these flat corners. It's like, it's all about the weight distribution, and he does it all right.
Yeah, I feel like the younger generation is, you can just see how much they think about execution, about, you know, not just going crazy fast, you know, laying it out there, but their technique is so good, both of these riders.
Yeah, I mean, efficiency is fast, and sometimes the riders who look like they're doing nothing are the riders who are going the fastest.
It's so true. You see somebody in practice, and you're just like, oh my god, they're going so fast. The timer says no.
Try this one on for size. 2 former kings of Crank. Oh, pardon me, this is Hannes Slavik. I knew that was going to happen at some point today. So, Adrian Larone, a former king of Crankworx, going up against Hannes Slavik.
Really getting that up. You know, Hannes, we were talking about that 4-cross background. Coming down here. The power.
Another tight one. If you weren't impressed with the 100th of a second differential from the last heat, here's a dead heat, a tie.
Wow, it's actually insane that we are getting these type of races in only the round of 8.
Especially considering when you look at the qualities sheet, one side was consistently a 1/4 of a second faster than the other, and with these race matchups here, it might be due to the fact that we've got some deteriorating conditions on the left course. They're evening out real quick.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too, the qualifying mentality and the race mentality is just, it's 2 different things. You know, you really see people who just race well, who can get in the race or in the gate and just turn it on.
Niels Bensink, Bernard Kerr. Yeah, I'll stick around and watch this one. That sounds good to me.
I will not be going anywhere.
Watch the gate.
So Bernard's been kind of on fire this whole day, but Neil, it's like you were just talking about, one of those riders who's going so fast but doesn't look like it because he's so smooth. Down the bottom.
Hardtail, here we go. Now, well, Bernard just unshakable in those flat corners to the tune of 0.9 seconds faster than Niels Bensink. It's got to be tough going one break hardtail.
Yeah, right.
The last couple gates.
Yeah. We saw Nils, I don't know if something happened with his bike there at the end.
Yeah, I think something happened. The front brake fell off and the rear wheel has no suspension.
Right. And I think the people say, like, why would you run a hardtail or a trail bike? The hardtail, every single movement you put into the bike is going to be transferred to the ground rather than to the suspension. That's good in some ways, and in some ways not so good when you need traction. So it's really kind of personal preference. What are you used to? You know, we were talking about him coming from a four-cross BMX background. So
yeah, I mean, it's the bike that you're most comfortable on is going to be the bike that's faster, even if the bike that you're comfortable on isn't necessarily the typical tool for that trade. I mean, we saw Danielle Beecroft a couple years ago in Whistler take the gold medal in dual slalom on a downhill bike.
Yeah.
We were laughing about her bringing that machine gun to a knife fight.
Right. Literally a tank to a paintball fight.
Took the win, and then she said, she's like, well, it's the bike I've been riding all week. It's a bike I'm most comfortable on, and so you just never know. Morgan Shar on the right side of your screen, the former downhill world champion, going up against another Garrick sister here. We got Anita Garrick, is that who's?
That's Anita. Yeah. Morgan really hit the turns at the bottom. I feel like as a rider, just watching people execute those turns is something that it's impressive to see people hitting the berms fast and going over the rollers fast. But when you see somebody execute those turns, it's like, holy cow.
So Anita Garrick, 0.84 behind Morgan Shar. Morgan Shar just needs to keep it smooth, keep it simple.
Oh. Dang. Again, you gotta push it. Anita knows it.
It's exactly what we've been seeing in the men's class as well. Is you get behind and you get a little bit antsy.
Right. And it's one of those. I don't know if it's. I think most mountain bikers come from a downhill or an enduro background. So when you're racing someone and you see them beside you, it's like it's like a horse on a horse track. You just kind of want to pin it, make up some time.
Becky Cook with a lot of time to make up. 1.5, that max differential behind Angie Hohenwarter.
Yeah, we just saw Becky lose the front end just a little bit on that other lane. So, it's not over because Angelica could do the same. Becky taking a little bit. All right, here we go.
Angie smooth sending Becky Cook to the spectator circle, the empty spectator circle.
It looks like that right side's getting a little bit of a rut built in there. We aren't seeing as many wild moments in those first two turns, but I think it's probably the third gate that is flat on both sides, and that's kind of what everyone's kind of concentrating on. As a rider, you kind of want to pick a spot where you're, this is what I need to concentrate on, this is the spot that I'm going to hit, this is where I'm going to turn, this is where I'm going to brake. Heard Thomas Slavik talking about that.
Mathilde Bernard going up against Ella Connolly.
Still one of those girls that's just
so
skilled. I think watching her at the World Cups, it's just it's pretty incredible.
Skilled Mathilde.
Look at that! I can't do that.
That's that BMX background, isn't it? Finding every opportunity to squeeze those pedals in.
It's so true.
So Bernard with a 0.82 advantage, but Ella pushing hard. It's not going to be enough. Mathilde crosses the finish line first and had that 0.82 to lean on. Mathilde advancing into the next round. So we're gonna get some replays here. Let's let Andrew Needling break this one down. Andrew, Mathilde Bernard just squeezing those pedals in every opportunity.
It's coming down to these flat turns. You've got to be on it at the top, but it's really, really all about those flat turns. And it's actually the first turn that's the most key, because if you come in too hot into the first turn, that's when you've got too much speed for that third one that we've been seeing all the issues on. So Mathilde Bernard's actually looking really good. I would have her on my sort of hot list as to take this, but she's got to get past Morgan Shaw. That she's incredible in those flat turns.
It really seems, Andrew, like Mathilde Bernard, I mean, we first saw her in the pump track, and we knew that she had a BMX background. It really seems like she's coming into her own, and those other skills that you only really pick up on a mountain bike, doesn't it?
Yeah, she's definitely doing a lot more downhill racing, been following on Instagram, checking it all out. So the BMX background is great for the top of the course, but she's clearly been working on all her downhill techniques. So as Elliot said, she's just got a lot of skill, and you build a lot of skill on the BMX track. So it's really paying off. It's nice to see.
Exactly. Once again, another great case of the pump track being the perfect gateway drug to get people to cross over to the dark side, grab that mountain bike, get into the woods, hit those roots and rocks. Right now on course, Martha Gill with only 100th of a second to make up. Come on now.
Oh, it's still so close. Wow, she didn't want to let it go.
That's a bit of an upset, hey guys. I had Martha Gill easily through.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I thought, I mean, even in that run, I thought she had it.
Well, that's what's up. There you go. We had that 100th of a second differential there. We're going to see that later on too with that tie we had. Drag race at that point.
Awesome for Luana there.
So, Luke Meyer-Smith with the advantage over Heiniger. Matt Sterling continuing that consistency. He's got that 100th of a second advantage over Adrian Daly. We were excited for that heat because we figured it was going to be a close one. We didn't imagine it was going to be that close. And then we also didn't imagine that 100th of a second differential wasn't going to be the tightest race in the round of 8.
Random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So here's the #1 qualifier. You know, he's got some here. He's got a little bit of an easier road. But that lower line, he knows. It's one of those things where you can't tell. I'm like, is he making a mistake? But Luke's been on fire. I think it's, if you do have a slightly easier road to the finals, you start to build that confidence.
Well, you earn that easier road to the finals, you know? That's why you push hard in qualifying. You get that top qualifying spot, you're going up against a 32nd qualifier to start out. It's a whole lot easier path than qualifying somewhere mid-pack where you're going up against somebody who pretty much had the same time as you. So Luke Meyer-Smith making all the right moves to advance out of these rounds. If you qualify first, that's definitely a heavy burden right there because you feel like you should win, but you're still so far away from winning.
That's so true.
It's a long day in dual slalom. Oh! We didn't notice that, did we? Luke Meyer-Smith on the headset right now. Luke, we've been very impressed with your riding today. Even before we saw you on the bike, we noticed that you qualified first. What would you attribute that to? Is it your bike setup? Have you been practicing in dual slalom, or is everything just kind of coming together all at once?
Yeah, it's coming together pretty well. Yeah, pretty stoked. Yeah, I wasn't really expecting to qualify first, so yeah, super stoked. And yeah, stoked to make it to the top 4. So yeah, excited for the next round.
how does it feel, you know, qualifying first? Do you feel a lot of pressure? Has this happened before? How are you kind of handling it?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit more pressure. I've never even made it to the round of 16, but yeah, so pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, the bike's running good. I think my tyre selection's a bit better this year. I was on my dirt jumper last year, which didn't go so well. So yeah, it's going well.
Well, make it happen, Luke. You look to be putting all the pieces together the right way, so just carry that momentum. We'll be cheering for you. Get back out there.
Sweet, thanks a lot.
So Luke Meyer Smith, obviously learning from past experience, talking about bringing that hardtail. We've been discussing that a lot.
So
bike
true.
choice is so key in dual slalom, especially on this course. He's riding a pretty long travel bike by the looks of it, and it seems like it's not bogging him down in the top, and he's just eyes on the prize at the bottom.
It's so true. And Needles, for this matchup here, what do you think is gonna really make the difference?
Okay, riders, random start.
Yeah, that's $1 million question, but it all comes down to the grass turns. It's about not getting too worked up if the other guy's got a wheel ahead coming into those grass turns. I just think you've got to be committed. If you hesitate in those grass turns, you're going to be either too slow or crash anyway, so you've got to just commit. Oh, and there's a mistake already. He's taking fast into the first one.
Yep, you're right. Exactly what you said.
Crazy.
You know, there's unfortunately a level of like you've got to go a little bit slower just into that first one and trust yourself that you can really make it up. You know, if you're just too committed and too fast into the first one, I mean, it's done.
Yeah, it's kind of like a game of chicken there as well. Like, who's gonna break first? You see the person out of the corner of your eye.
Oh, hey, I got a cool little piece of info. We were excited to see that Sterling Daly matchup. It did not disappoint. That was as tight as they get with that 1/100th of a second differential. It looks like Luke Meyer Smith, your #1 qualifier, who we just spoke with, will be going up against Matt Sterling in the next round. That's good.
There we go.
The two riders who've been looking unshakable, only one can make it out alive.
Alles ist mit blutreichender Grenzsumme in Weiß gegen Adrian Laronne mit dem grün-gelben.
It's shaping up to be, I mean, Matt is on the right track to go to the spot he was in last year.
So Adrian Larone squaring up against Hannes Slavik. Adrian Larone and Hannes Slavik. Might as well call this one a drag race. Absolutely perfect tie in run number 1. It's not often we see that.
It's, both of these riders have a ton of experience.
And Elliot, here's a rider, Hannes Slavic, only qualified in 30th, and he's been getting faster as the day went on.
That's true. He's a little bit outside, 0.25 back from Laronne.
Easy math, easy spectating for us there. First rider through the line takes it. Adrian Larone. Moving on, the big question is who will he match up against?
Yeah, like you were saying, Needles, he qualified 30th. Looks like he made a mistake where he would have, his first run would have put him in 4th place, 5th place. And so I think that shows, you know, what Cam was saying, that qualifying just means so much.
Yeah, you've got to put yourself in the mix. It is a good sport that you can make up. You know, if you made a mistake and you would have qualified in 4th, then, I mean, it shows you that you can beat, say, some of the best guys and you take over their ranking, but you do have a little harder way to get to the final.
Niels Bensink on the right side of your screen. Hardtail 1 break going up against Bernard Kerr on the full switch. Bernard Kerr with the point.
Oh,
advantage.
no!
Oh, that's where you'd expect Bensink to thrive. Problems off of the gate.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where he knows that's where he. He knows that that's supposed to be his spot. Is kind of the gated racing, the gate start, when to really throw his hips forward and came uncooked.
Andrew, what's your take on that? When you're backed into a corner and you're faced with that decision right there, do you just go as hard as you possibly can, focusing on your strengths, or is it more a matter of balance?
His chain broke.
Okay.
I didn't slip a pedal.
Yeah, I mean, he's had an issue at the top, so yeah, for him there, I mean, there's nothing more he can do. But speaking about getting backed into a corner, you know you're up against Bernard, you know that a conservative run is not going to win. You're going to have your best run, so that's where you'd rather go down swinging. You'd rather go down even with a crash, you know you tried your best, you know. It'd be super annoying to put a clean run in and get beat anyway.
Yeah.
It was crazy to see. It's almost like maybe there was a skip.
Yeah.
And then he blew his hand off
totally
in the gate.
Yeah, I think I was wrong on every single thing there.
It's just going to show how much power he's putting in. Everything is falling apart.
Definitely one of those ones that makes your heart jump when your hand flies off.
Well, a couple of really exciting heats to come for us in the men's semifinals in the dual slalom Innsbruck. Luke Meyer-Smith, your #1 qualifier, going up against last year's champion, Matt Sterling, who qualified in the 4th spot. Adrian Larone, a former king of Crankworx, going up against Bernard Kerr, a former king of Crankworx. Come on, man, come on. This is great stuff right here. I don't care what time it is where you are, you're not going away. We've got the men's category, we got the women's category. We're going to be giving away some medals in the dual slalom Innsbruck. Second run in the semifinals coming up. Here we go. Don't go away. Welcome back to Racing Live. Dual slalom action coming at you from Innsbruck, Austria. Beautifully sunny day with snowy peaked mountains to start this October. And we found ourselves in the middle of the semifinals, aka the round of 4 for both the men and the women. This is what it looks like for the women.
Yeah, you see Morgan there. She's kind of been the one to beat. Man, like beating Anita by 2.6. Just really on fire, like we were talking about winning that last EWS. And then we have Mathilde, who, you know, Andrew was talking about how that BMX background really plays into the top of the course, but having that experience this year, building those downhill skills, those mountain bike skills for these flat turns is helping a lot.
#1 qualifier, Morgan Schar, going up against Angie Hohenwarter. Like you've been saying, Morgan Schar, such a diverse skill set and such a resume that's just peppered with highlights. Where do you even start?
Yeah, Andrew, what do you think that does for you when you can ride multiple disciplines?
Well, I think we're seeing it here. It's going to pay off in slalom because it's a pretty all-round sport. You've got turns, you've got jumps, you've got a gate start, and she also rides flat pedals, which is clearly why she's doing so well here in the flat turn. She can commit and almost have a little mistake, but get her foot straight back on. And there you saw it. She had a little bit of a bobble there, but not losing as much time as someone else, you know, that's opted for clips. So she gives away a little bit at the top and makes up for it at the bottom. But she's got her work cut out for her because now she's down going into the next heat.
It's almost like the exact moment you were talking about what it's like to be running those flat pedals. We were seeing it live on screen.
Yeah, Elliot, I mean, you know how it is. Now you've qualified faster, so you're expected to win. Even in with your own riding, you're like, it's a disappointment if you're not, say, in the first 2, really. Someone that qualifies 4th, they got nothing to lose. They're not meant to beat you, so they can come in kind of less pressure, really.
It's so true, yeah. Like that little couple of inches off there, being at the top of that rut, and I was always more nervous, like you said, qualifying. You know, if I had qualified higher up and I was going against someone, I was like, I have to beat them. Like, I have to beat this person. I'm supposed to beat this person, and it was always like a different feeling of pressure. It was like some expectations there, rather than just the typical butterfly.
Until Bernard, your number 3 qualifier, squaring up against Luana Churches, your number 7 qualifier.
Man, but still over those rollers is so gnarly. Yeah, she just looks so fast everywhere. Again, you can tell just from the actual bike skill, being comfortable on a bike. I think a lot of people think about and ask that question of, you know, what do you do? How do you go around this turn? And it's just from so many repetitions, know exactly what the bike's going to do, having a feel for it, being in that situation 1,000 times before.
Mathilde Bernard looking real strong. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, a Morgan Schar versus Mathilde Bernard would be something to watch. Kind of staring at these brackets, imagining what could possibly happen. We can do that with the men right now as we have our men's bracket on screen. Number 1 qualifier going up against your defending champ. I like the looks of that. 2 kings of Crankworx facing off against each other. I like the looks of that.
Can we do like a picks right now? Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win this heat?
Okay. Let's do it.
I'm gonna say Matt Sterling.
You know what? I was going to do that, so now I have to pick Luke Meyer-Smith. And let me tell you what, I'm just going to own it. He's the number 1 qualifier today. Okay. I don't care if Matt Sterling won last year. What year are we in? Unfortunately, 2020.
Needles? Riders ready, watch the game.
Well, I thought it was for win of the whole thing, and I've got Bernard Kerr, but that's the next heat, so I'm going to go with Smith on this one.
Oh, see, it's already started.
But look at that, come on.
Oh,
it's going to be a tight one. These guys don't make mistakes. Look at this, it's going to be so close. 0.19, Luke Meyer-Smith, our number 1 qualifier today, ahead of Matthew Sterling, our winner from last year.
You know, when we were talking to Luke, he was saying that he hadn't even made the round of 16 before.
That's incredible.
And look at that, like, oh my,
power wheelie. What? Come on, that is the best thing we've seen all day.
Oh my lord,
that was magic.
But his riding is kind of what you need to do mental though. Like he's so forward focused and so committed. It's like he's not even thinking about another rider at all. It seems like, you know.
Yeah. I am interested to see how he does in the downhill as well, because he, you know, is just looking so strong, looking so good.
Well, from the race with 2 young guns going up against each other, how about this? A couple of veterans scoring up in the gate, guys who are no stranger to racing against each other. They both summited the impossible peak of becoming king of Crankworx.
Laronne with a little bit better gate there. We're missing a little bit of a pump, but this flat turns have just been insane. Oh!
Whoa, like Larone. Yeah, Larone by a quarter of a second ahead of Bernard Kerr.
Yeah, that was, Laronne had a, you know, like we were talking about the veterans, just Bernard's probably not going to be super happy with that run, and Laronne just doing exactly what he needed to do.
I mean, that Larone gate start.
Yeah.
You talk to riders who are scoring up against him, whether it be in dual slalom or speed and style, and it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to have to make it up somewhere else, because he's going to come out of the gate ahead of me, and I'm going to have to see what the back of his jersey looks like, which is not a sight anybody wants in gated racing. So Adrian Larone on headset at the moment. Adrian, we're watching you go through this day of racing here, and you appear to be getting faster and faster in the flat corners. Did you have some bubbles earlier on, or is that what's going on? Are you just getting faster and more comfortable at the bottom?
The course is drying really fast now because of the sun, and I'm just feeling more confident. I can push. I couldn't this morning. I was sliding everywhere, and so yeah, I think the upper part is okay for me. And now I found the solution for the flag, so I think it's good.
Yeah, and you know, first of all, the beard is looking really nice. Second of all, I feel like this being one of the only Crankworx where we're missing that other round. Do you feel a lot more pressure being here for this one race?
Well, I don't know. I think it's more chill now. We are just less people. We didn't have too much races this year, so I don't want to be stressed, and I just want to enjoy the whole event. And yeah, when I'm having fun, I'm just riding better, I think. So I also stopped building tracks, so I don't have my company anymore. I'm more focusing on riding, and it helps a lot. I'm more free in my head, so having more fun. I'm riding better, I think.
It sounds like that beard is working for you. That burning ball of gas in the sky is drying out the course. Everything's kind of lining up for Adrian Larone, so keep doing what you're doing. We'll be rooting for you, Adrian.
Thank you very much.
That is a chill Adrian Larone right there, man. I love it, too. That is very cool. Hey, everything's going great. I'm just feeling great. I'm like,
the sun is shining.
But then when you watch him ride, it's like, amazing. Everything's working for Adrian Larone. So the plot thickens in the men's category as we get a peek at where we stand right now in our women's bracket.
Yeah, man, you can kind of look from left to right just how much the gaps have gone down. You know, the Morgan behind Angelica just a little bit, and Mathilde just a little bit behind Luana.
Yep, tight racing, and I think Adrian Larone, obviously he knows what he's talking about because he's out there racing, but he hit the nail on the head. Those bottom corners were so slick in the morning, but now as things dry out, we got to realize it was early when we first dropped those round of 16 heats, and so the course is getting faster and faster. The riders getting warmed up here. Angie Hohenwarter going up against your #1 qualifier, Morgan Schär.
So Needles, what do you think Morgan's thinking? You know, she made that decision.
Yeah, I mean, this is the tough one. This is where you don't want to get in your head, and this is what's happening here. Oh, big unforced error from Angie. She had the lead, and all she needed to do was keep it on 2 wheels. Well, I guess your question had to be, what was Angie thinking? So I think Angie was getting a little bit ahead of herself.
Andrew, that's what you always refer to it as, is being a little late. You need to be thinking ahead, but not getting ahead of yourself. I'm hoping we can get a look back at that replay and allow you an opportunity to just pinpoint where things kind of started to go wrong.
Yeah, it really boils down to everyone's excited. It's now the semi-final. Everything's to play for. Everyone's trying to be committed, but the mistake happens here. But we had to pick it up early. She's come in way too hot the first 2 turns, and that's why she is so late on that turn. And she hasn't realized it midway through the turn. She's just kept committed in that turn, and I mean, there was no coming back from that.
That's what it is. It is commitment. The bike is facing one way, and it's decided it's going that way. And she's like, no, 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 I want to be over here.
Just willing it.
So Morgan Schär, #1 qualifier out there today, and everything's fallen into place for you. We just spoke with Adrian Larone. He says the course is getting faster and faster. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit slippery this morning, but now it's getting really good ruts, and yeah, really fun.
Yeah, Morgan, you just came off an EWS win. Now you're here at Crankworx. How much would it mean for you to win the slalom?
We'll see. I did this event for fun, but yeah, it's always good to get a win, so we try hard.
Well, it's always fun to track the progress of our #1 qualifiers. You're still in the race. Luke Meyer-Smith's still in the race. It's hard not to root for those #1 qualifiers because we know what that burden is like to carry. So get out there and put it together. Good luck in the next round.
Thank you, guys.
So Morgan Shard taking it all the way to the gold medal round, backing up that #1 qualifying position, and now back to the men to see what the story will be. Nope, still, here we go. We got Mathilde Bernard and Luana Churches.
So again, you know, this is one of those ones where we are kind of expecting Mathilde to come out on top, but we saw what happened in the last round where a mistake can happen. And it's really up to Mathilde to make sure she's smooth here.
0.34 is definitely manageable here for Luana.
Just love watching those. All of those rollers and stuff like that. I feel like she's hitting it faster than everyone.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wow. If she wouldn't have made that mistake, she probably could have.
That's true. I mean, that's like a 0.35 potential loss right there.
That's totally true.
And that could have been a close come from behind swoop there for Luana Churches. But Mathilde Bernard keeps that focus. She's your #3 qualifier. She'll be moving in that next round, an opportunity to take that gold medal.
You know, in that rut, everyone making that same mistake in that corner that Luana did has actually been kind of pushing the rut into the flag. So you kind of saw where all the dirt is coming up, and Mathilde super stoked. But yeah, the rut is actually facing the wrong way. So when you're riding, you actually kind of have to hop out because everyone's been digging that thing to the middle of nowhere.
Well, you commented on the women's bracket saying that those gaps were getting smaller and smaller. Same case here. The men's bracket, 0.19 separating Luke Meyer-Smith and Matt Sterling. We've got some fun, friendly wagers going on that. Adrian Larone and Bernard Kerr, 1/4 of a second separating them. It's anybody's game in both of these heats. Who's going to make it into that gold medal round?
Totally. And Needles, you know, we talk about experience, and these two youngsters. What does it mean to have, you know, not a whole lot of experience and being in a position like this?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes ignorance is bliss, and someone like Luke Smith says he hasn't even got here before, so he doesn't even know what to expect or what to feel. But I really like he's been so committed. He's attacking the top and almost focusing his own race better than the others. Matthew Sterling, great rider. He won here last year, but now, like we've been speaking about, he expects to win. So that's an added pressure.
Oh.
Well, these guys aren't showing signs of inexperience.
Oh my Lord!
What? Come on.
Down to the 1,000th.
Holy shit, that was...
We have timing to that 1,000th place, and that is insane. That's literally a knobby. Luke, of course, just so skeezy over the rollers and really pushing it in these flat turns. Wow.
Luke Meyer-Smith, just the composure he has, watching him in slow motion, it looks like it's a video segment.
Yeah.
And it's almost as if he's able to do it in slow motion and just put his body weight in exactly the perfect spot. Usually when your riding gets slowed down, you go, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't focus on that, but the perfection of his riding is made for slow motion.
It's so true. All right, Bernard really needs to bump it up here. Talking about it, made a couple little mistakes, so if he can have a clean round, he definitely has a chance. Yeah, the rest of the pivot team cheering him on.
Oh! Whoa, okay, we're gonna need slow-mo on that to see if There's a potential gate missed.
The same thing that Andrew has been saying all day, just coming into those first 2 turns a little bit too fast. You saw him try to brake, but just his braking point was just probably maybe 5-6 feet too late.
Wow, well, the chill, calm, cool, collected composure of Adrian Larone that we heard firsthand in that interview is paying off right now. We do get a slow-mo replay of Bernard Kerr somehow. He made that gate. He made that gate. How is that possible? You are connected to your bike when you can be that far off and then get it back to the exact millimeter you need to be to not miss that gate.
Wow.
A little too late for Bernard Kerr there. Adrian Larone moving into that gold medal round.
So potentially played it a little safer in qualifying, but...
Sorry, Andrew, take a look at these brackets right here. Our gold medal round set, bronze medal round set up. So Luke Meyer Smith going up against Adrian Larone. That's a great thing about having a young gun bracket going up against a veteran bracket is you know your gold medal round is going to be represented one from each party. And then Matt Sterling, Bernard Kerr will battle it out for that bronze medal matchup. If you're loving all the racing we have coming at you right now live from Innsbruck, we've got plenty more from Innsbruck the next few days, but also it's a great week for mountain biking. A lot going up on the World Cup circuit. Let's hear about it, Rob Warner.
Well, thank you, Cam. It is all systems go here in the Czech Republic for the opening rounds of the 2020 World Cup season. We've had some amazing racing here earlier in the week with some rather surprise winners, I think it's fair to say. And in this uncertain year, one thing you can be certain of, though, after a year's break, is that these cross-country races this afternoon will be explosive. You do not want to miss them. We're live on Red Bull TV after Crankworx. We'll see you then.
The stage is set to give away some hardware here at the Dual Slalom Innsbruck. We've got the gold medal and bronze medal matchup set for the men's and the women's category. And wow, the racing has been getting tighter and tighter as the day has gone by. The course is getting drier. I'm sure a little bit of that snow at the top of the mountains is starting to melt out a little bit as we welcome a beautiful day here to kick off Crankworx Innsbruck. This is what the bracket looks like here at the end of our long day of racing in the women's category. It's down to just 2 more heats. Morgan Schar and Mathilde Bernard squaring up against each other for that gold medal, and Angie Hohenwarter and Luana Churches will battle it out for the bronze. Now, Andrew Needling, we're looking at the women's category right now, and I feel like we have a similar scenario to the men where we've got the veterans on one side and the young guns on the other side.
Yeah, it's nice to see it play out like that. It's cool to see the young guns, you know, not buckling under pressure, and they've made their way to the final. So here we have a lot of experience. Big crash there. That's the biggest crash of the day so far. We've seen a lot of crashes in the flat turns, but my word, clearly speak about commitment up at the top. Looks like she's going to be okay.
Like a runaway truck.
Yeah, brakes failing, going off.
I mean, kind of finding the most dangerous way to ride the slalom course.
She did well though to not hit Luana. I feel like that's some bike skill there.
Turning a dual slalom into Rampage here. Somehow she found a cliff drop in the middle of the dual slalom course. Let's take a look back at this. Where do you think it went wrong, Andrew? It all kind of happened so fast.
Yeah, I need to have a quick, oh my goodness. So she's just, it's tough to see. She just got a bit bucked on the roller and then clipped something, unclipped the foot, and then just, man, deer in the headlights, eyes were going straight, she was no ways of stopping. And then she's obviously trying not to kill Liana. She didn't even flinch, did she?
She didn't flinch.
No.
That's not dual slalom anymore. That's two
That's
cross.
what you meant to do in dual slalom, yeah.
Wow, I would have been freaking out.
At least there's some excitement here in the bronze medal matchup.
Andrew, do you remember back in the day when instead of dual slalom, they just called it dual, D-U-E-L, and the courses did come together?
Well, basically that was just bumper cars, man. Like, people did not make many friends because if you knocked down your opponent and you got up first, you would win the race. There was some interesting tactics.
Let's bring it back, Elliot. Let's bring it back.
I wouldn't know what to do with that.
All right, bronze medal matchup for the men's category. Matt Sterling looking to take hardware home for 2 years straight. He took the gold last year. He wants a bronze now, but he's going to have to get
Yeah, these are two former teammates as well. Matthew was on the pivot team last year, so he wants to beat his former boss. Burner wants to get redemption after that last round.
Might have to look at that one back. So, before any review, who knows? Maybe we saw it a little bit too quick there. Matt Sterling, 600ths of a second ahead of Bernard Kurt through the line. It's always crazy when we think somebody missed a gate. We go back to that slow-mo, and they're not even close to missing it.
Right.
So 600ths, I mean, we talk about the racing getting tighter and tighter as the day goes by, and it is not making a liar out of us. But here's a look close up of these tires on the gate. Let's see if Matt Sterling was on the correct side.
Looks like he was to me.
All looks good. Matt Sterling carrying on that precision we've been recognizing out of his riding style all day. Deficit of 600ths of a second, so that's going to be a tight race to determine who will walk away with that bronze medal, but it's all about gold medal matchups now. Morgan Schar, the #1 qualifier, going up against Mathilde Bernard, the #3 qualifier. We've got very different bike setups here, but the same stakes on the line.
You can see again that kind of brake setup from Mathilde, much lower down than Morgan. Morgan coming from a downhill background. Definitely opposites here. So you have Mathilde, who has just been absolutely flying at the top, and Morgan, who has been hitting those bottom parts. We talked about the flat pedals, giving her a little bit more confidence. She did slide out, make a little bit of a mistake there, but I think it'll definitely be one of those ones where each rider has to bring up their weaknesses a bit and kind of rely on their strengths.
Ready, watch the gate.
And they're off. Morgan Schar against Mathilde Bernard. Now, Andrew, you notice that Morgan Schar is one of those flat pedals. Is that something she's done her entire career, or is that a choice you think she made for this race?
No, she has been known and one of the few ladies to ride flat pedals. There's actually not many men that are left riding flat pedals, so it really plays into her favor here. Because the top of the track, yes, there's pedaling, but it's very smooth. And then down at the bottom, she can be so aggressive in the flat turns.
Well, it's all seeming to be working for her right now. Morgan Schar with the advantage in this gold medal matchup. Let's take a look back in slow-mo, Elliot.
Yeah, man, Mathilde with that first gate, just flying out of the gate there. And I think it kind of played out a little bit like we thought, where Mathilde just hitting those manuals, pedaling over the rollers is so perfect. But down at the bottom here, Morgan, again, just locking in. Really see her moving the bike, not her body, weighting that outside foot, going right around the gates. Like Andrew said, making sure that she brakes enough, getting the half a pedal. That's really exactly how you're supposed to go around these turns.
So Morgan Schar making it happen here. We talked to her on headset earlier, just a little bit about qualifying first and what it's like trying to get that win. It's a long day in dual slalom. We also talked to Luke Meyer-Smith about that same thing. He now finds himself against somebody who's very familiar with being in a gold medal matchup. Luke Meyer-Smith found himself in a round of 16 for the first time today.
And now he's in the gold medal match. It's one thing to have the skill, it's another thing to be able to execute that, make it all the way here. So.
Well, Andrew Needling did say that sometimes ignorance can be bliss, so let's see if Luke Meyer-Smith can just focus on the task at hand here against the veteran. They are very closely matched. Adrian Larone through the line first by .32. I believe this is the first time we've seen a number lit up in red alongside Luke Meyer-Smith's name.
Yeah, man, it's in these gold medal matches where you see people just find that extra gear. Just put it all out there. Laronne with this skate, but Luke is right there. Really evenly matched. I can't wait to see the slow-mo of Luke. Just so steezy.
So crazy statistic that's been brought to our attention here. Despite being a former king of Crankworx and standing on so many podiums at so many Crankworx stops, this could possibly be the first dual slalom win for Adrian Larone. And obviously with Luke Meyer-Smith making it into the round of 16 for the first time today, would be his first big slalom win on a Crankworx stop. So we're gonna make some history today, put somebody's names in some record books.
Wait, so Laronne's never won a slalom race?
It's crazy. That's what our number counters are counting right now.
Wow.
How many fingers do you need to count to 0?
I need it. Like 5 of them, right?
So, .32 separating Larone and Meyer-Smith, advantage belonging to Larone. But Matt Sterling has the advantage over Bernard Kerr. So we got one veteran with the advantage. We got one young gun with the advantage. We're pretty evenly balanced here.
It's true. I feel like Matt Sterling is kind of turning into this, or has been, this slalom specialist, this guy that's a mainstay there. And then, you know, Morgan, just, you know, it's one of those things where it seems like it always plays out this way, where Morgan and Laronne have just been in such a good mood, such good spirits, really having fun, and it shows. But it's one of those things, how do you get there?
Grow a beard.
Hey.
Is that what you're doing right now?
Hey.
You're growing that beard? All right, all right. Mathilde Bernard, left side of your screen. Morgan Shar on the right. Oh, sorry, here we go. Luana Churches on the left side of the screen. Angie Hohenwarter on the left, on the right. I can't talk anymore. What time is it? 2 a.m. Right on. 1.5, Luana Churches. Holding on to that max differential after that crazy somersaulting, catapulting cartwheel from Angie Hohenwarter. Let's see if Angie can keep the train on the tracks this time.
Oh man, that was a wild one. I feel like everyone's species. Making sure. All about Luana really just easing her in.
That's it. When you have that 1.5 advantage, well, there you go. Luana Church is grabbing that bronze medal.
That's amazing for Luana. Bronze medal at Crankworx is such an accomplishment. Riding well all day long.
So I believe she's from Romania, which is really cool. I mean, yeah, of course there's some countries that can't make it to Crankworx Innsbruck in 2020, but it's great to see our field just broadening. So many countries being represented out there, so congratulations. Now on to the men's bronze medal round. Bernard Kerr on the left side of your screen, Matt Sterling on the right.
All right, Needles.
Ready? Watch the game.
Let us know what you think.
Well, I had my money on Bernard Kerr, but it's going to be a tough one against last year's winner, Matthew Sterling. He really is not showing any signs of bucking under pressure. I don't want to give him the commoner's curse, but this is where Bernard's got to just let it all hang out, even though he's on those grass turns. What a turn from Bernard Kerr.
Wow.
I think he's done it.
He does.
Wow, that was some experience right there. So committed.
Yeah, that was his definitely his probably his best run of the day. I know he probably would have liked to have that in the run before, the heat before, but taking a bronze medal here, it's got to feel good.
I mean, all day we barely saw it. Go for it, Andrew.
That is some consolation, Elliot. I think you're right. Bernard Kerr, after qualifying second, we know he can do well. He would have been super angry to not make it to the final. And if he had got 4th place, that would have been just double as bad. So good charging from Bernard. He would have been super pissed to get anything but 3rd there.
So great performance there out of Bernard Kerr. We didn't see too many come from behind victories in the 2nd round, but Bernard Kerr digging deep when it counts the most, grabbing that bronze medal. Now to get you back up to speed with where we stand now for our gold medal matchups, the run that matters the most, but this is how we got here between Mathilde and Morgan.
Yeah, Mathilde just smashing all the berms and the jumps there, but Morgan at the bottom, kind of two opposite strengths here. I think if Mathilde can hit this bottom little bit, then it's gonna be really close.
Well, will we see her pull a Bernard Kerr here and come from behind? Or will Morgan Schar take it all the way from #1 qualifier?
You can see the different sizes of the bikes. Mathilde with that gate.
All the pressure on Mathilde right now as she gets an early lead.
She needs to get some extra distance for this bottom piece. Gotta go for it.
Oh, she's gonna be close. Oh, she's a little late on that corner. What's it gonna be? Oh, wow, she got exactly 0.49. Come on.
Another tie?
The second time we've seen that today.
Like, these races are getting decided by blades of grass.
It's like she needs 0.49, and what does she get? 0.49.
Wait.
So let's see what happens in this case. We have that graphic on the bottom left of our screen right now indicating that this run is under review. I'm not sure if they're looking at gates. If we're checking our rule books to see what we do in this case. Oh, well.
I wonder.
Looked like a little contact on that gate.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that mistake.
Yeah, definitely, like Andrew was saying, those flat pedals. Man, just nerve-wracking. It's like, did I win the race? Did I lose the race?
They're both getting medals, but they both want that gold.
the adrenaline's kind of wearing off. You're just like, all right, come on, come on.
Look at that.
And it's not like we can have a sudden death and throw them to the top. We'll have to do it 2 runs again to make it fair.
So Andrew, what is the tiebreaker in this case? Morgan Schar had the advantage.
I wonder if they actually, I wonder what they're looking at. I wonder if is it an actual tie, like down to the 3rd digit there, the thousandth place, or are they looking at a gate?
I mean, I haven't got the rule book in front of me, Cam, but we could always suggest rock, paper, scissors, but I don't think that would be very friendly.
I know what I think it should be.
Maybe they're going to have to share the gold medal would be the only fair thing to do here, or go at it again, throw them to the top, give us another 2 runs. We want to see more racing. Unless they're reviewing this gate, you know, this could be a real issue here. But both wheels are on the correct side of that gate.
Good, yeah. totally.
I mean, it's all about that pole in the ground more so than that flag.
Yeah. I mean, that looked a lot.
Both her wheels were on the correct side of that.
Totally.
Well, it seems like if you're behind, you need to make up 0.49, and you get exactly 0.49. I'd give it to Mathilde from coming from behind, but we'll see. Oh, wow, okay, we just received word. You guys are gonna like this at home. It is so close that the officials have decided to rerun this run.
Wait, so that they had to have just tied, like straight
up tied.
Like, I never have seen that before.
I mean, this is the fairest way to get through this. You say, all right, well, that was a perfect tie. Let's go up there and race it again. Or you guys have been racing all day. What's one more lap?
Morgan's like, are you serious?
Yeah, I guess.
Wow.
But you know what's crazy about that is the race courses are different. They tied considering that they've both ridden both courses. So do they do the whole thing over again? Both sides?
I would think you would do both sides again.
Can we do a manual contest? Well, we'll just keep tracking this. We'll find out what the story is going to be. But guess what? We got another category. Remember the men?
Oh, yeah, those guys.
Those guys, remember them?
Right.
Cool. Well, let's figure out who wins a gold medal in the men's category. We got Adrian Larone on the left side of your screen going up against today's #1 qualifier, Luke Meyer Smith. Let's take a look at their differential.
Luke's had a wild time in that first run, really pushing hard.
Okay, 0.32 in favor of Adrian Larone, and this is how Larone was able to score that 0.32. Let's take a look back.
Luke just, his technique is so strong.
Okay, Larone with 0.32, Andrew Needling, who do you have? Who do you have for taking the gold?
I have to say, I mean, Luke Smith has been great all day, but the momentum is on Adrian Laronne's side. He's just been getting faster and faster, and I think that's going to give him a bit of confidence here. And he's got the lead.
And he's got that beard. He's so chill right now. I don't see Adrian Larone making any kind of mistakes. He's got 0.32 to lean on. I'm with you, Andrew.
I'm going with this. Get it, boy.
You got to be the contrarian. Somebody has to.
Get it.
Here we go. We're about to find out.
Okay.
Whoa! What is it gonna be? Oh, Larone is so fast right now. Come on, you gotta be kidding me. Larone through the line first again. Larone will take a gold medal in slalom for Adrian Larone. We're not 100% sure. We think this might be the first time.
Yeah, right.
So, huge congrats goes out to Adrian Larone, regardless if this is his first time winning a dual slalom with Crankworx or not. What a performance on the day. And we interviewed both of these guys today, and they were both riding strong, but they also are coming from completely different places.
Yeah.
Luke finding himself all of a sudden #1 qualifier going, what do I do with this? And Adrian Larone just kind of, he's got like an advanced outlook right now, and it's really good to see. So Adrian's back on a headset. Adrian, we just talked to you a minute ago. You seemed so chill and focused. Everything seemed to be clicking. And all of a sudden I went, uh-oh, look out. This dude's probably going to win this race. And you did just that. We're wondering, is this your first dual slalom win at a Crankworx event?
I was chasing it for a while, but yeah, finally.
Right on, man.
That is so amazing. Like, I think all of us just know how good you are, and it's so surprising.
Thank you.
What were you doing during quarantine? You seem so chilled. So
I've been training a bit. But I got a bit dismotivated when they started to cancel all the events. So I went surfing for 1 month, and I think it's good training too, but now I'm back, and so happy to be on my bike, and so cool to see the friends and everybody around. So just a good mood. It works for me.
Finally, tangible proof that surfing makes everything better.
It looks like.
Studies. Thank you for studying that and proving what we kind of already imagined would be true. And congratulations on your first gold medal at a dual slalom race. Come on.
Thank you, guys.
Way to go. Round of applause.
Nice
Round
one,
of applause.
Laronne.
Thanks.
Well, Adrian Larone grabbing that gold medal. It's great to see. And guess what? He's not going to be done. We've still got days upon days of competition out here. You know you're going to see him at the pump track. You know you're probably going to see him at Speed and Style. And we still are seeing him right now on the screen, so we might as well ask him, are you going to do Speed and Style?
Yeah, I don't think I will train this afternoon because I need to race the pump track tonight. It will be a bit too much. But I will try my best on Speed and Style. To be honest, I didn't work too much on my tricks, so you will probably see the same. But I will try to be fast and having fun too.
Well, you got a lot more to do this week, but go enjoy this win.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good stuff out there. Well, guess what? Usually at this point we'd be done with racing, but we've got this crazy developing story with this tie. What's going on?
Yeah, this. Have you seen this at all, Needles? Like, ever?
No, I can't say I have. I've seen the ties kind of in the first run, and then we often get the second run to kind of help us make a decision. But no, I didn't see this. So who knows? You know, this is at least we get to see another run.
Hey, I'll take it.
And this has got to be.
Oh, they're just rerunning this exact same run with the .49 differential. Okay, well now we know what's going on.
Morgan, not super good at the gate. Okay, here we go.
I did it once. Here we go. Oh, do it again. Wow. A crash from Morgan Schar, who had the .49.
That's
Mathilde.
Crazy.
They made it work for this one.
They did. I would be so
peeved.
Yes, especially because like it came up with the win on the first one. And it's kind of like when it's under review.
Are we gonna do this again?
Oh
my gosh. Okay, well, we're gonna look at the replays and see if any. I mean, if Mathilde missed a gate, it would be an insane roller coaster of events here.
Okay.
If Morgan misses a gate, it doesn't really make much of a difference.
Right.
So all eyes on Mathilde here, left side of your screen. Oh, okay, good there. Well, that's Morgan.
All right. Never looked at the screen so intensely before.
You know, we're like standing up and everything. Oh!
That was fine, right?
I mean,
that's all good.
I think from this angle it's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like a similar scenario to what we saw earlier. As long as that back tire's on the appropriate side of the pole, doesn't really matter if the pedal catches and rips the flag out.
This is like reality TV. It's like,
it's the net flag. Oh.
Like the front tire?
And in that case, all Morgan Schar would have to do is just cruise through.
Wait, so...
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Good.
All good?
Good. Oh, this is a great angle.
All right.
Good. Oh, look.
Oh! I don't think so!
Come on, no way! Oh! Wow! Hey Morgan, we got a surprise for you.
Oh. No way.
This is a lot of ups and downs for a dual slalom race.
A little bit. This is.
What is going on here? Are we asleep and dreaming? What is happening?
Oh, she kind of knows it too.
I wonder if she's got a screen.
Yeah.
Wow. Morgan Schar, gold medal. There you go. You have the on-screen graphic. Okay, in case you're just staring at the screen going, what are these guys talking about? What is going on here? Mathilde Bernard, who would have otherwise won this race because she had to make up a .49. Morgan Schar fell, so she crossed the finish line faster than .49 ahead of Morgan Schar. Mathilde Bernard missed a gate in that run, which automatically DQs her. Morgan Schar got up, made all the gates, crossed the finish line, therefore she gets a gold medal.
Yeah, so when we talk about missing a gate, we're saying it's the tires on that little red buoy thing there.
Not a lot of rules in slalom, but those gates really matter.
Oh man, your tires are, you know, 1 inch, half an inch.
They're playing like smile ping pong here. It's like, oh, Matilda's smiling, no, Morgan's smiling, no, Matilda's smiling.
That's wild. Literally, we had 3 different winners there, all in the course of switch back and forth.
Well, let's catch up with Morgan Schär. Later get it adjusted. Morgan, kind of a roller coaster of emotions here, to say the least. You had the gold, then you had the silver, then you got the gold again. Are you confused, or did you track all that? We're trying to explain to everybody what's going on, but were you told what happened?
Yeah, so I think Matilde went over the gate at the, like one of the last gates. I don't know, I just crashed and I was like, oh, okay, that's over. But then, yeah, apparently she got disqualified, so that's lucky.
How does it feel to go back up and do a rerun after you think it's done?
Yeah, it was so weird. We were like just waiting for the results, and yeah, they were like, oh no, you have to do it again. So it's just part of the fun.
Well, what a season for you, Morgan Schär, an EWS win, and now backing that up with a slalom win. What can you not do, a former downhill world champion? Time to celebrate. We can't wait to see you back out there for downhill.
Yeah, for sure, it's great, and Bernard from the pivot team got third too, so it's perfect.
You've got somebody else to go celebrate with. Well, we're not going to hold you from getting down to business. Get out there. Cheers for us.
Cheers, guys.
Well, crazy dual slalom race, Elliot Jackson. Andrew Needling, I mean, what are your final thoughts on this crazy dual slalom race, Andrew?
Well, I'm just so excited that I got to join you guys, that the riders are back racing, and it couldn't have started off any more exciting. Bit of controversy as well, but that is slalom for you. Anything can happen and normally does happen. So great riding by Morgan Schär. I do think she deserved the win, so, you know, maybe it did play out a little bit fair in her favor. And then on the men's side, I think Bernard Kerr was looking really good. He'll be disappointed, but he did manage to get a third. But the young guns, they're going really, really good. So the future is looking bright. But Adrian Laronne, I don't even think he's been on a slalom podium, I'd bet to say. I've been looking through results and I didn't see him even on the podium, and definitely not a win before. So it's nice to see him build a bit of momentum in the beginning of this Crankworx week.
Well said, Andrew Needling. Thank you so much for joining us. Now I'll turn it over to you, Elliot Jackson. I mean, it's good to be face-to-face with you. We did the Cliff Crankworx Summer Series earlier on in the summer, but now here we are watching a real Crankworx event in one of our favorite spots, Innsbruck. We're up and running. What do you make of this slalom?
It is. It was such amazing racing. So back and forth. Saw a lot of new faces in there. I'm so impressed with Luke. He really just, like, you see him in slow motion. It's just like, I just want to keep playing it over and over, which was like an Instagram clip. So I'm looking forward to seeing him ride the rest of the week. Congratulations to Laronne and Morgan and Matilde, all riding fantastic. So looking forward to the rest of the week.
I couldn't think of a better way to kick off this festival. And speaking of later this week, RockShox Innsbruck Pump Track Challenge coming up shortly. I think in like 3 hours we're going to be doing pump track.
Take a quick nap.
So go for a bike ride. If you're hanging out in our time zone, put a light on and go for a bike ride, because I'm sure after watching this slalom, all you want to do is throw a leg over a bike. We've got so much more coming at you. Do not miss pump track in a matter of hours. We'll see you. Thanks for tuning in.